Hi, friends. Welcome to the Inspiring Heights podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Kaiser, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the 12 Days of Christmas series here on Inspiring Heights. Typically, we launch podcasts every other Monday, but seeing as how Christmas is the most amazing and beautiful and wonderful time of the year, we thought there was really nothing better than having 12 days in a row where we could talk about all sorts of fun Christmas things. So we are super glad you're here. Let's get to it. Hi friends, on today's 12 Days of Christmas episode, I am so excited to be sitting down with my sisters, Stacy and Alicia. We are going to talk about our family traditions growing up and then what it looks like as we get married and start having families of our own to start our own family traditions while staying connected to our larger family. I feel like this is a fairly sensitive topic at times because traditions really, really matter. Especially in our family. We love, love, love Christmas. We have a ton of Christmas traditions. And so it's this really intricate kind of balancing act of starting our own traditions with our families while still honoring the traditions that we grew up with. Let's start by having you introduce yourselves. And I just feel like I need to say this for the record. We all kind of sound a little alike, but Alicia has a cold, so you will be able to tell her by her sniffles.
That's why I sound like a man.
Stacy, will you introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about you?
Sure. Hi, my name is Stacy, and I'm Vanessa's oldest sister. I live in central Montana and have a husband and a 9-month-old. And I'm real old to have a 9-month-old, so a lot of people who have kids my kids' age are like in their mid-20s, and I'm not. And so, that's kind of my life. I had this, big like life and career and stuff, and now I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Life is real different these days.
Awesome. Alicia, how about you?
Yeah, I am also a mom. I have an 8-year-old and a 2.5-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I live in Billings, Montana, and my husband and I are both business owners. My husband has a title company, and I run a real estate team. And so a little bit of a different dynamic. It's interesting, like, with Stace being stay-at-home mom, myself probably working way more than I would like to be working. I think a lot of times it's interesting, like we'll be talking on the phone and it's like there's part of me that's like, oh man, that'd be so nice to be able to stay home and and have that time with your kids. And in the same breath, that those days that you're home, like I have a 3-day weekend and I'm like, oh my gosh, my kids are driving me crazy. I mean, I love them so much, don't get me wrong, right? But it's like it is the hardest thing. So it's like this constant balance of like, to your podcast's whole foundation of like really being where your feet are and trying to make the most of the situation that you're in, because it's so easy to be, thinking about the other way, right?
Yeah, yep. For sure. That's good. Cool. Well, thanks for being here. So I feel like it would be really good to start with what traditions you remember growing up. And I'm really interested because I feel like we all talk about the traditions that we all remember. But Stacy is 10 years older than me. So I'm curious if there's things you remember that I don't.
Yeah. Family traditions growing up for me really revolved around extended family. So around Dad's family being at the ranch. And I loved it. Loved having everyone there. And lots of our aunts and uncles play music. So people would make music, play music on the piano and guitars and violins and mandolins, and sometimes someone would even belt out a song, they would sing sometimes, and that was always a lot of fun. That was a really fun part of holidays, was having everyone together and making music. That's for me. I feel like, and then Christmas morning was always just us at home, our little family, but outside of that, the rest of the holidays was all this excitement and busyness and everyone there and lots of great food and
same.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that entirely. In fact, Mom asked me a couple of months ago, what do you think your favorite holiday memory is? And I was like, honestly, I think it was the times at Grandma's house, which was always typically Christmas Day night. We would do Christmas together and then go over there and, you know, just all the family and the music. Like, I remember that too. I was like, I love listening to, like, Uncle Glenn playing the banjo. You didn't mention the banjo.
Yeah.
And then I can remember
accordion. Someone played an accordion, right?
Yeah. And then our cousin. I mean, by the way, I think we need to make it for the record very clear that, like, the talent level. I mean, this was not like,
it wasn't like a hoedown.
I mean, maybe it was. But no, I mean, the talent was, like, unbelievable. Like, our aunts and uncles, like, true, genuine, amazing musicians.
Oh, yeah.
And I can remember Grandma, you know, sitting in her chair, and I like, can see it just vividly, but she'd kind of be swaying back and forth, and I remember she'd always have a smile on her face and in her eyes closed. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's just that big family gathering was just so joyful and fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So over the years, we have transitioned from being just the Maters to now all of us are married and have our own extended families, including not just like our own nuclear family, but also that family of our spouses. And I feel like this is touchy sometimes, right? Because you're balancing between wanting to make everyone happy, wanting to make sure that expectations are met all the way around, but then also wanting to start those own traditions of your own nuclear family. And we don't have kids yet, right, Ben and I? So it's a little easier for us. Like, we have our own things, but we're more flexible because we don't have kids. But tell us what that has been like for you guys.
Well, I'll go first. So we really like to travel, and I lived far away from home for so long that my personal family tradition has always been to travel. That's just been a part of my culture. And then when we got married, we had kind of decided okay, we're going to do every other year for Christmas, and we'll do the opposite side for Thanksgiving. And that's just what we were going to do. And then that very first year that we were married, my husband's dad was very ill and ended up passing away. And that put a wrench in our this is our forever plan right away. And so I think for us, we've really had to learn to be flexible and to expect our families to be flexible as well, and to navigate priorities in terms of where we're going to be. So when Eric's dad was sick, that's where we were. And when you guys got married, we had to choose between going to the wedding or going to Christmas because they were too close together. And Eric's side of the family was not comfortable with us being there that close to being around other people from COVID. And we chose the wedding, having to prioritize those things. And then with the timing of when our kiddo was born, we weren't able to be at Christmas. And so, yeah, just being flexible has become our new mantra, I think. Our new family tradition is flexibility.
Yeah. I think it's tough for sure. And Stace and I can both, I think, attest to this, but we, for both sides of our family, well, I guess for your mother-in-law, your daughter was first grandchild on their side, first granddaughter on our side. For 8 years, we were the only grandkids on both my husband and I's side.
Yeah.
A couple things that come to mind. I think about the tradition, and at the heart of every family tradition is a meaningful experience, right? And it's so important to make sure that we have these traditions because they touch us and they connect us and they expand us. But kids bring a whole nother dynamic to it because the traditions that we create today will be the memories that our kids cherish forever. And so it almost is like an added pressure of you think about the traditions you had as a child and how important they were to you and to your parents. And now it's oh, okay, well, this isn't really about just us anymore. Now we have these experiences that we have to mold for our kids. So I maybe struggle with it a little bit more Maybe than you. I think you're more flexible. Would you guys agree? I'm like a little uptight. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. You just never want to make anyone feel that they're, not worthy or loved or any of that. It has really nothing to do about any of that. It's just trying to make sure that you're really doing what's right for your kids and creating that foundation, because the hope is that they're going to have these traditions that we're able to create and then go do that in their own lives and take little pieces of it. And I mean, the whole thing is just kind of like it just expands and grows. And
yeah, I think we have, we start planning for the holidays in February. Because 2 reasons. I really love the holidays. So there's that. But then the other part of it is because we are coordinating with all of you and then Ben's side of the family. I think it's funny because I think not everyone is thinking about Christmas in February. Not everyone is like me. But that has become something that's been helpful in us navigating through some of those things. What Christmas traditions have you started with your nuclear family that you love?
This is our first holiday season because my kiddo isn't a year old yet. So we started off this year's holiday tradition with her sleeping through opening presents and through Thanksgiving dinner. So I don't know how to answer that. I don't think we have anything set in place yet. Oh, but we did get matching pajamas. So 2 pairs, one for our family that we're probably going to wear tomorrow. And then we got one for Christmas where we're going to be with his mom. And she got a pair also. So maybe matching pajamas will be our holiday tradition.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Did you and Eric have anything before baby?
No, we didn't. I feel like it was...
Well, truffles.
Yeah, but that was before Eric. I mean, I stopped making truffles? Is that a holiday tradition?
I literally was scrolling through my phone not terribly long ago, a couple weeks ago, and I was seeing a picture where we had made thousands of truffles. Do you remember? You remember. Because we were rolling and she's like, you got to make sure they're rolled good. And we're like, dude, we're dipping these. And she's like, yeah, it's like latex. You can see every nook and cranny. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. It was awful. It was all day. And I am good in the kitchen for, you guys know, 35 minutes. I'm like, what is happening right now? This is insane. It was thousands of those things.
Yeah.
I was sweating by the end of it.
Because that's how truffle making day goes. It's all day long, which is now really hard to do with an infant. And you have all your friends come and you make thousands of truffles, and then you all have all these truffles to give to all your friends.
Yeah.
It was a great tradition.
It was.
I don't foresee doing it until I have a babysitter.
Or baby's big enough. Give it 15 more years and we'll reinstate the tradition.
Yes.
Or make 25 of them.
That's hard with truffles. There's so much work to only make 25.
Yeah, that's true.
How about you, Alicia?
We've started several traditions. We're big about doing gingerbread houses every year. We do Christmas cookies. We live in the city, so we love our, going around looking at Christmas lights around town and having hot cocoa and
Elf on a Shelf.
Elf on a Shelf is definitely, yeah, absolutely.
Go for your family.
Yeah.
I say this to Ben all the time. I don't know if we're going to do Santa when we have kids, but I really feel really strongly about the elf.
Okay.
I have so many good ideas. I keep hitting them on Pinterest. I'm like, oh my gosh, brilliant.
Oh, it's funny. We have a lot of fun with the elf.
You guys, I feel have done really well with family traditions, not just for Christmas, but other holidays too, and some with your neighbors and friends, and you just do them every year, the pumpkin carving and the corn maze. And
yeah, we have different things that we have really good friends that live right down the street from us, and their kids are the same ages as ours. And the other thing I wanted to add, though, from a family tradition standpoint, that I think is really important, not just from a tradition standpoint, but something that we definitely were raised with, and that is making sure that along the holiday season, even Thanksgiving, but Christmas too, like the real meaning of giving back to others. And that is one thing with the kids we've tried to start from an incredibly young age, is really make sure that we're grounded in how blessed we are, and making sure that they know that, and then in turn trying to really showcase how you can make a difference in someone else's life or a child's life or whatever whatever that tradition is. But I remember doing that. What was the one that Mom did?
The shoebox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Operation Christmas Child.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's really important, especially in today's day and age. I think the world needs more of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think kind of along those same lines for us, we travel a lot on holidays, so it's harder, but really making sure that people who are in your, circle or community have a place to be connected. I mean, we have several friends who are single. In the last year, we've had a number of friends who have become widowers, and just, even if we're not going to be there, making sure that there's some place that they can go, somewhere that they're connected, so they're not alone on the holidays if they don't want to be. And some people would prefer that, but yeah, just making sure that the people around you that you know are involved and connected somewhere, plugged in somewhere.
Yeah, I did a podcast with Mom, and we talked about that, and that I feel like is so much of where, like, that's our roots. That's where we came from, right? Is that place of making sure that people always had a place to go. And I actually said to Mom, I can't remember the last Christmas where we didn't have someone there who wasn't like a part of our immediate family.
Yeah, and I think that culture is really important, because I've noticed it more now that I have another side of my family who did not have that same culture. And I'm really comfortable having whoever there, like, whoever's going to come, and they typically feel welcome and feel comfortable being there. And that same skill set, for lack of a better word, was not a part of the family culture on Eric's side of the family at all.
Sure.
And so that's been kind of interesting to navigate that, and it's been kind of eye-opening for me to realize, like, that was something that our parents and our probably grandparents too, like that, family culture that we grew up in, really instilled that well in us. Like, and for me, it's just as natural as anything, but that's not a given for everyone, and that has been kind of eye-opening for me around holidays.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So what is one piece of advice that you would give either a couple that's just dating and starting to get into that, like, which side of the family are we going to spend Christmas with, or newlyweds, or maybe they're like 5-10 years in and it's been a struggle from day one? What is the piece of advice you would give them about navigating family dynamics and splitting their time during the holiday season?
I think my piece of advice would be for those two individuals to talk to each other and determine what they want. And then that's going to look different for everyone, right? I mean, some people are going to want to be at home on the holidays and not see either family. Some people are going to want to do every other holiday or every other year. Some people may even want to legitimately, like, see both people on the same holiday. Like, we'll have lunch with your parents and dinner with our parents. For a lot of people, that might be super overwhelming, and those expectations are really hard. So I think it's important for the couple to communicate about what they want, and really, like, solidarity, sister, like, this is what we're going to do, and then communicate that to their families. And with grace too. Like, we will come visit you in April. We'll come visit you in June, but we're not going to come over the holidays. It's too stressful for our family. We are not able to have one meal with each of our families on the same holiday. So we will come over next weekend for dinner, but this weekend we're going to be with this side of the family. So I think being able to communicate with each other and make those decisions, but then when you relay that to your family, doing it in such a way where it's not like, we never want to see you again, we're cutting you out of holidays and our lives for life. It's more of a, this is what we're going to do, then here's when we will see you, or here's how we can connect. I think that's important.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good advice.
Yeah. I think, like, that was really good advice. I think to add to that, sometimes I think that people get really caught up on location. Or I know that has been a hard thing within our family dynamics where, and I understand it, my mom and dad would love for us to go and be at the ranch. And then we have a family cabin on the other side in the mountains, which is like, we love being up there. And so we had to have this conversation about, okay, like, again, it's not about us anymore. It's about our kids. And we made the decision together that spending in the mountains on, at the cabin was what we wanted to do and what we wanted to start with our kids. But how we've tried to like come full circle with that is we just had this dialogue with everyone where it's like, here's the deal, both sides of the family. And thankfully, everybody gets along. But it was like both sides of the family, this is where we're going to be. And it's an open invitation to everyone. That seems to like help with the every other year we're going to go here, go there, go, whatever. And like Stace, you guys are so flexible. But like as your kids get older and stuff, like it got harder for us to want to be traveling on Christmas, like, or over that weekend. Like we just wanted to be close to home, and that's just for us, and it's different for everybody. But yeah, I think that whole conversation is critical.
Yeah, that's good advice. I like it. Communication, I feel like that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and then just knowing that you're probably going to get pushback and make some people unhappy, and you have to kind of just be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. I think too, like you just have to remember sometimes, like, pardon, everyone has different levels of emotional intelligence and how it's interpreted and how it's not, and what offends and what doesn't offend. I think you have to remember to, and this is probably like completely opposite of what I would typically say, but the whole purpose around the holidays, and honestly just everyday life, is, you have to do what brings you joy. When you get too busy trying to accommodate the wishes and the needs of all these other people's because you don't want to hurt their feelings, and we need to go there because we don't want to, it just goes like, you're in hamster wheel. And I have had to kind of center and come back and be like, what do we want to do as a family? What brings us joy? Not necessarily everybody else around us. And I know that sounds like kind of, you shouldn't be thinking about, that's not typically how we are. Like, think about others first, of course. But to some extent, you have to kind of come back and ground yourself to, if that is not fun and it's a total, stressful situation, like, why are we doing this? Right. And then it just helps to ground yourself and come back to like, what brings us joy?
This was really fun. I feel like we could have a sisters podcast. I'll run that up. 2023.
I don't have time for that. We just set some boundaries here.
All right. Before we go, I've been asking everyone this question. What is your all-time favorite Christmas tradition?
Pajamas. I feel like wearing pajamas on Christmas morning that are like pajamas that you don't wear any other time is my favorite thing. I have a pair of like zippy, I think they're monkeys, sock monkeys, but it's like a full, like bodysuit, like my baby wears all the time, zippy pajamas, and I love wearing them on Christmas morning, and I never wear them any other time. I've had them for years. I love pajamas.
Can I just say, I feel like we went through a season where we got these like super fuzzy, warm, ultra warm pajamas every year for Christmas, which is so sweet. But also our parents keep it like 97 degrees in our house. So those pajamas give me some bit of angst. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, I might pass out from a heat stroke if I put these on. In all my life, and then I don't like to be hot when I'm sleeping. So the one time in my life I wish I would have had my fuzzy pajamas is when we were camping and it was 30 degrees outside.
That's so funny. And Vanessa, I think the last time I was at the ranch for Christmas was many years ago, and we got the flannel pajamas, and it was like 30 below, and your window was open in your bedroom. And we were all like, our teeth are chattering, and Vanessa had their window open because she had the flannel pajamas on.
Yeah.
Ben asked me recently, like, how did you handle growing up here? Like, in the heat of the house, I said, I slept with the window open all winter. That's how I coped with the temperature.
That was your coping mechanism.
What's your all-time favorite Christmas tradition?
Oh, man, it's such a hard question because there's so many, right? I think mine is cookies.
Yeah.
I love, and I would say that our mom, her Christmas cookies are the best.
The best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Love
we were
them.
just talking at Thanksgiving dinner today. In fact, my sister-in-law's boyfriend was joining us, and he was saying something about his mom's stuffing. And he's like, I don't know what it is, but it's just my mom's. And I'm like, that's how I am with the cookies. Like, there's just something about it. It's 35 years eating the same dang cookie, and it's good. So I love doing that with our kids. And Mom has shared that recipe with me, and so that is something that's special. I feel like even if she's not, with us, or if we're, not together, that's something that kind of, is a way for us to bring them in and tell stories, and, it's fun, and they're so good.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Vanessa. It was an honor.
It was fun. I was like, it was an honor.
It was an honor and a pleasure.
Until next time. Friends, thank you so much for tuning in today to the 12 Days of Christmas here on Inspiring Heights. We hope that today's episode left you feeling inspired and full of Christmas cheer. Hey, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Inspiring Heights, or on our website, inspiringheights.org. If you haven't already, we would love it if you would subscribe to the podcast and leave a comment so that people who have never listened before have a sense of what the show's about even before they hit play. Okay, friends, until next time, take a deep breath and be inspired where your feet are. Bye for now.